The air in the province hangs thick and heavy after a storm. Raindrops cling to the broad leaves of banana trees, glistening under a shy moon. It is past midnight. The only sounds are the chorus of crickets and the distant bark of a stray dog. This is the hour when the veil between our world and theirs is at its thinnest. Imagine walking down a muddy path, the familiar route from a neighbour's house suddenly feeling alien and unwelcoming. The wind whispers through the bamboo groves, but it does not sound like wind at all. It sounds like a name, your name, carried on the breeze from a place you cannot see. This is where our journey begins, in the heart of the Philippines, where shadows dance with a life of their own. Every rustle in the kogon grass, every snap of a twig underfoot, sends a jolt of primal fear through your veins. Your grandmother's warnings echo in your mind, stories told not to scare but to prepare. She spoke of beings that watch from the boughs of ancient ballet trees and those that follow lone travellers in the dark. You quicken your pace, your rubber slippers sinking into the soft earth, making a squelching sound that seems far too loud in the suffocating silence. The familiar path twists and turns, but tonight it feels like it is leading you deeper into a labyrinth, away from the warm, comforting glow of home. The darkness is not just an absence of light. It is a presence, a living, breathing entity that presses in from all sides. Suddenly, a strange, sweet scent fills the air, like jasmine mixed with decay. It is a fragrance that does not belong in these woods. You stop, your heart hammering against your ribs. Your eyes scan the impenetrable wall of trees, searching for the source. Is it just a flower blooming in the night? Or is it an invitation? A lure from something that knows you are alone, vulnerable, and far from the safety of a blessed home. In the Philippines, we learn from a young age that not everything we see, hear, or smell can be explained by logic. There are forces at play that defy science, ancient energies that have lingered in these islands long before the first concrete roads were ever paved. This feeling, this chilling cocktail of fear and wonder, is woven into the very fabric of our culture. It is the reason why we say tabi-tabi po when passing an old tree or an anthill. It is why we hurry home as dusk settles, avoiding the liminal hour when the spirit world awakens. These are not just stories. For millions of Filipinos, they are a lived reality, a set of unwritten rules for coexisting with the unseen. As you stand frozen on that path, you realize you are a guest in a world far older and stranger than your own. The night holds its breath, and you are left to wonder, what is watching you from just beyond the reach of the moonlight? Perhaps the most feared of all the creatures in our folklore is the Aswang. This is not a single entity, but a whole category of shape-shifting, flesh-eating monsters that have haunted our nights for generations. The Aswang can appear as a beautiful woman by day, a neighbour you might share a morning coffee with, but by night she could transform into a great black dog, a monstrous bird, or a pig of unusual size. Her true terror lies in her ability to blend in, to be the enemy hiding in plain sight. Her target is often the unborn, using a long thread-like tongue to suck the life from a pregnant mother's womb, or feasting on the livers of the sick and the dying. The stories are countless, passed down from one terrified generation to the next. In the remote barrios of Capiz and Iloilo, provinces often called the home of the Aswang, residents still hang bundles of garlic by their windows. They keep salt and blessed oil close at hand. Fishermen speak of seeing the tik-tik, a bird said to be the Aswang in its winged form, circling a house where someone is about to give birth. Hospital workers have shared hushed tales of a mysterious visitor seen lingering near the maternity ward, only to vanish when confronted. These are not just campfire tales. They are deeply ingrained beliefs that shape daily life and community vigilance, a constant reminder to be wary of the shadows. Then there is the tikbalang, the half-human, half-horse creature that guards the forests. With the head and feet of a horse but the body of a man, the tikbalang is a trickster. It is said to inhabit groves of bamboo and ancient acacia trees, delighting in leading travellers astray. Victims report walking in circles for hours, unable to find their way out of a familiar patch of woods until they realize what is happening. To break the spell, one must turn their shirt inside out, a simple act of reversing the creature's magic. The tikbalang is also known for its mischievous nature, its deep guttural laughter echoing through the trees as it watches its confused prey. While often seen as a malevolent trickster, the tikbalang can also be tamed. Legend says that if a human can pluck one of the 3 golden hairs from its mane, the creature will become a loyal servant for life. This belief speaks to a core Filipino value, the idea that even the most fearsome forces of nature can be understood and even befriended if one shows enough courage and respect. Children are warned not to make noise when in the forest, lest they disturb a tikbalang. It is a lesson in humility, a reminder that we are not the masters of this land, but merely cohabitants with beings much older and more powerful than ourselves. High up in the branches of a massive ballet or mango tree, another creature resides. This one is a giant, a towering, dark-skinned being with a body covered in thick black hair. He is the Kapre. He's almost always seen smoking a huge cigar, the scent of strong tobacco being the first sign of his presence. Unlike the Aswang, the Kapre is not inherently evil. He is more of a guardian of his chosen tree, a territorial being who is content to simply observe the humans below. He is a lonely giant, puffing on his cigar, his glowing red eyes like embers in the dark canopy. His presence is a part of the landscape, a known entity in many rural communities. People who live near a tree believed to be home to a Kapre learn to live with their unusual neighbour. They leave offerings of sweets or liquor at the base of the tree as a sign of respect. Children are told not to play near the tree after dark, not because the Kapre will harm them, but simply to give the giant his peace. There are stories of men who tried to cut down a Kapre's tree, only to fall gravely ill or suffer a string of unexplained accidents. The Kapre reminds us that nature has its own sentinels, and that respect for the old ways and the old places is a form of survival. He is a silent, smoking giant, a symbol of nature's enduring power. From the giants in the trees, we go to the little people who live beneath the earth, the duende. These are goblins or elves, small, often old-looking creatures that live in anthills, termite mounds, or underneath old houses. Duende come in different colours which signify their nature. The white duende are said to be benevolent and can bring good luck, while the black ones are malicious and enjoy playing tricks that can sometimes turn harmful. They are known to be fiercely protective of their homes, and woe to the person who accidentally kicks or desecrates their mound. This is why you will always hear Filipinos say, "Tabi tabi po," excuse me please, when passing by such places. The belief in duende directly influences behaviour. A child who suddenly falls ill with a high fever and rashes after playing outside might be suspected of having offended a duende. A traditional healer, or albilario, would be called to perform a ritual called pagpag, an offering of food and prayers to appease the angered spirit. People will avoid certain spots in their own backyard, knowing it is a lugar ng may naninirahan, a place where someone else resides. This belief fosters a deep-seated respect for the environment, teaching that every inch of the land, no matter how insignificant it seems, could be a sacred home to an unseen being. Belief in the supernatural is not limited to mythical creatures. It extends to the dark and terrifying world of curses. Perhaps one of the most infamous stories is that of the White Lady of Ballet Drive in Quezon City. For decades, taxi drivers have shared chilling accounts of picking up a beautiful, solitary woman late at night on this dark, tree-lined street. She asks to be taken to a nearby address, but when the driver looks in the rearview mirror, he finds the back seat empty. Or worse, he sees her face, suddenly bloodied and terrifying before she vanishes into thin air. Her curse is one of haunting, a perpetual reenactment of a tragic death that has stained the very asphalt of the road. The fear is real. Many drivers will refuse to pass through Baleti Drive alone after midnight, preferring to take a longer route. The legend has become an urban cautionary tale, a ghost story that has transcended generations. We went to the area and spoke with a long-time street vendor. "Totu Yan," he said, his voice low. "My cousin, a taxi driver, experienced it. He quit his job the next day. He saw her in his mirror. Her eyes were black holes. He said he felt a cold that went straight to his bones. This is not just a story. For those who believe they have encountered her, it is a traumatic memory, a curse that leaves a permanent mark on the soul. Beyond hauntings, there is the more direct and malevolent practice of sorcery, known locally as Barang or Kulam. This is a curse intentionally placed upon a person by a mangkukulam, or witch. The ritual often involves using a personal item from the victim, a strand of hair, a piece of clothing, along with dolls and incantations. Victims are said to suffer inexplicable illnesses, sharp pains, or even have insects emerge from their bodies. We travelled to a remote village in Sikwajor, an island famous for its healers and its sorcerers. There, we met a woman named Elena, who claimed her family had been cursed by a jealous neighbour. "My husband couldn't work," she whispered, her eyes filled with tears. "He would just scream in pain. Doctors in the city found nothing. Only the albulario here could help us." This belief in sorcery creates a complex social dynamic. It can explain misfortune in a world that often seems random and cruel. But it can also breed suspicion and paranoia within communities. An argument over land or a romantic rivalry can escalate into accusations of kulam, leading to fear and ostracization. The curse is not just a supernatural attack, it is a social weapon, wielded through whispers and accusations. We also heard of heirloom curses, where an object like an antique comb or a piece of jewelry brings misfortune to every generation that possesses it. The object itself is said to be bound to a vengeful spirit, a physical anchor for a curse that time cannot erase. These stories serve as a chilling reminder that some wounds and some grudges are passed down through blood. But for every shadow, there must be a light. The Filipino spiritual landscape is just as rich with stories of profound hope and divine intervention. In 1993, in the small town of Agu La Union, thousands of pilgrims gathered to witness a phenomenon that defied explanation. They claimed to see the sun dance in the sky, spinning, changing colours, and pulsing with light, an event reminiscent of the miracle of Fatima. Believers fell to their knees, weeping and praying, convinced they were witnessing a sign from the heavens. Skeptics pointed to mass hysteria or the danger of staring directly at the sun, but for those who were there, the experience was deeply personal and transformative. This capacity for collective faith leads many to seek solace not just from the church, but from faith healers. These are individuals believed to be conduits for divine healing energy. Take, for example, the phenomenon of psychic surgery, where a healer appears to perform surgery with their bare hands, removing diseased tissue from a patient's body without making a single incision. While highly controversial and widely dismissed by the medical community as sleight of hand, thousands of people, including foreigners, have flocked to these healers. They come with terminal illnesses, with chronic pain, with a desperation that modern medicine could not cure. For them, the experience, real or not, offers a powerful miracle, the miracle of hope. Perhaps no place embodies this spirit of miraculous hope more than the monastery of the Holy Eucharist in Simala, Cebu. Known simply as Simala, this castle-like church is home to a statue of the Virgin Mary that is said to be miraculous. The walls of the monastery are lined with the discarded crutches, wheelchairs and braces of those who came to pray and left healed. There are letters upon letters of testimony thanking the Virgin of Simala for passing board exams, curing cancer and mending broken families. The sheer volume of these testimonials creates an overwhelming atmosphere of faith. It is a place where the desperate come to plead and the grateful come to give thanks. In the aftermath of Typhoon Yolanda, one of the most devastating storms in our history, a story of a different kind of miracle emerged from the flattened town of Tolosa, Leyte. A young girl, believed to have drowned in the storm surge, was found lifeless. Her family, refusing to give up, prayed over her body for hours. According to multiple witnesses in the evacuation centre, the girl suddenly coughed up water and began to breathe again. In a landscape of unimaginable death and destruction, this single act was seen as a sign from God, a flicker of light in the darkest of times. It was a miracle that gave a grieving community a reason to believe in tomorrow. How do these two worlds, one of terrifying creatures and curses, the other of divine miracles and hope, exist together in the modern Philippines? The answer lies in our unique cultural identity. We are a people who stand at a crossroads of ancient animist beliefs, Spanish Catholicism, and modern scientific thought. We do not necessarily see them as contradictory. A Filipino can go to a doctor for a diagnosis and then visit an albulario for a second opinion. We can use waze to navigate through the city, but we'll still turn our shirt inside out if we feel we are being led astray by a tikbalang. This duality is not a sign of confusion, but of a deep and flexible understanding of the world. We have learned to navigate life using all the tools available to us, whether they come from a laboratory or from the whispers of our ancestors. These stories of monsters and miracles are more than just entertainment. They are a form of social control, teaching respect for nature and elders. They are a source of comfort, providing explanations for the inexplicable and offering hope when all seems lost. They are a way of making sense of a world that is often chaotic and unpredictable. Our folklore is a living, breathing part of our national psyche. Skepticism, of course, has its place. Many of these phenomena can be explained away by psychology, by environmental factors, or by simple misunderstanding. The Aswang could be a way to explain sudden infant death syndrome in a pre-scientific age. The Kapre could be the mind playing tricks in the dark, turning shadows and sounds into a familiar monster. The dancing sun could be a retinal illusion. But to dismiss these beliefs entirely is to miss the point. It is to ignore the profound impact they have on our culture, our values, and our day-to-day interactions. The truth is, for many Filipinos, the line between belief and reality is beautifully and sometimes terrifyingly blurred. Faith is not just something you have, it is something you do. It is in the tabi-tabi po you mutter, the rosary you clutch in your pocket, the story you tell your children as the sun goes down. It is a shared understanding that there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in our philosophies. This intricate tapestry of belief is what makes our culture so resilient, so mysterious, and so profoundly human. It is the soul of the Philippines, a soul that believes in the power of the unseen. We end our journey back where we began, on that dark, lonely provincial road. The air is still thick with the scent of jasmine and decay. The moon has hidden behind a thick blanket of clouds, plunging the world into an even deeper darkness. You have walked this path 100 times, but tonight you feel it with a new awareness. You think of the creatures that may lurk just beyond your sight, of the curses that can be carried on a whisper, and of the miracles that can fall like rain from a clear sky. You have heard the stories, the testimonies, the warnings. You have seen the evidence of a nation that lives and breathes its folklore. You finally see the faint, welcoming light of your home in the distance. A wave of relief washes over you. The fear begins to subside, replaced by the comforting thoughts of a warm bed and the safety of 4 walls. You dismiss the strange feelings, the whispers on the wind, the eerie silence. It was just your imagination, you tell yourself. The stories got to you. It was the wind in the bamboo. It was the smell of a night-blooming flower. It was just the darkness playing tricks on a tired mind. There is a rational explanation for everything, isn't there? You smile, feeling a little foolish for being so scared. As you take the final steps toward your gate, you feel it. A cold spot in the humid air. A sudden, heavy pressure on your shoulder, as if a hand has been gently placed there. You freeze, your own breath caught in your throat. It feels large, heavy, and impossibly real. You are too afraid to turn, too afraid to see what or who has been walking with you this entire time. The crickets have gone silent. The world holds its breath once more. The stories are just stories, you tell yourself again, but your heart pounds with a truth your mind refuses to accept. And then, a low, guttural sound, like a deep chuckle, rumbles right beside your ear. It is a sound that does not belong to any man or any animal you know. You are not alone on this path. You never were. In the Philippines, we are taught to be respectful of the unseen world, to acknowledge it and to fear it. But sometimes we forget. We forget that just because you do not believe in them, it does not mean they do not believe in you. Tabi tabi po.